Everyone, welcome to the Critical Cinema Club. I'm Sean,
I'm Colm.
and this week we're going to be talking about films coming up in 2024 and what we're looking forward to. Maybe films that we think might be duds. Who knows? It's all on the table. So, Colin, what are you looking forward to? I think maybe we should start sort of earlier in the year. What's coming up relatively soon? Is there anything that's caught your eye in February or March?
I think in February, one film that I would like to see is the Bob Marley one. A fan of Bob Marley's music, so I saw the trailer to that when we went to see One Life a couple of weeks ago, which is another film I'd highly recommend, which is in cinema now. For anybody who hasn't heard of that one, it's Anthony Hopkins. It's based on a true story where he saves hundreds of children from Czechoslovakia before the outbreak of World War II. And it's a really a moving and quite an important film, in my opinion, to go and watch. So, but yeah, Bob Marley, One Love, is definitely one that interests me.
Well, that's really made me laugh because you mentioning Bob Marley to me is really. Do you remember why? So
Oh,
at Colum's wedding, Colum asked me to do a reading of Bob Marley from a poem he'd written, and when they announced that Sean's going to read out this poem, no one had given me anything. I didn't know what the poem was meant to say, so I had to get my phone out and in front of everyone Google it. Yeah, do you remember when I got up and I just went, and you went, where is it? I don't know. No one's given it to me.
well, the wedding planner had printed it off and left it on our kitchen table.
Well, that was no good to me, was it? In front of everybody, but luckily, I had the thought. I could tell something was going to go. Cause I sat down. I thought no one's giving me anything. So as you were all coming up, and I googled it and had it ready to go in my pocket. But
Seamless.
I was much more prepared for that than I am for most of these videos we do together. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, you wanted to see Bob Marley. That's tickled me. That's brought back a memory. That's good. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
Another film coming out in February, and I'm not going to say it's something I'm excited to watch. I will catch it at some point. Is Madam Web?
I knew you were going to say that.
It's because I obviously love Spider Man, love Marvel, love all that stuff. I'm not sure it's going to be a great film. I haven't even watched Morbius yet because you hear enough, and I wonder if it's going to be in the same vein of. It looks like a film that might be poor. I don't know what you think. It's got that vibe.
Yeah, I think for me, the Sony Spider-Man verse films haven't really set the world alight with entertainment, and I have seen I call it morbid. It is absolutely shocking, honestly. I think the Venom films are well. The first Venom was okay. Obviously, we're going to get to this a bit later on, but Madam Web isn't really something that excites me. I saw the trailer and I was kind of like, what is the point in this? But you're judging a film by a trailer.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm going to go to cinema to watch. I'm definitely going to catch it on streaming.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Madam Web. I remember when they announced it, and I thought, "Oh, cool, no way!" Because Madam, I don't know if we talked about the cartoon and the comics and things in the past, but Madam Web was quite an important character in the animated series in the '90s, and she was this elderly woman who sat sort of in between realities, and she was responsible for a lot of the Spider Verse type thing. And I wonder
Yeah,
if that's something that's going to come on again. But when the trailer dropped and it was this young attractive woman, I thought, well, Hollywood's going to do what it's going to do, I guess. But that doesn't look like the Madam Web that I think of when I think of Madam Web. So it's got streaming
no,
written all over it, that film, for me.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to go too far as the critical drinker calls it, the message and stuff like that. I think that kind of stuff's better
Hmm.
served by other commentators on YouTube, but it's got the message kind of slapped all over it as well. With I mean, if you look at how the Marvels flopped, it's got that kind of vibe to it. And
Yeah,
I
playing it
mean,
very
for me,
safe.
it's not really. Yeah, it's not really fair for me to just say, "Oh, I'm not going to watch it because it's all strong female characters," because there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It's
No,
just
no.
how well those characters are written,
It
and to
does
me,
look
it
to
just
me
looks like
that,
it's an excuse.
yeah, it looks like a by the numbers movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It looks like an excuse to get another Spider Verse film out, potentially drop another Tom Holland Spider Man. if that's ever going to happen. But I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really strike me as something that I'm going to be very interested in watching. It's got Dakota Johnson in it, who was in those 50 Shades films, which admittedly I haven't actually watched.
Don't lie. It's up there with Twilight, isn't it, for you? But yeah,
that's a no from me.
It's got Netflix in 2 years written all over it for me.
Yeah, I think I'll be more interested in watching WWE Raw on Netflix than I would be watching that.
Yeah, just announced today. This time next year.
Yeah,
very very exciting for you and me, big fans.
Absolutely.
So there's a chap here called Kieran Richardson who's chimed in. He's got a couple of films he's looking forward to. Are they even real films?
I've seen the trailer for this.
Really, because I know Winnie the Pooh, it's been nominated for Razzies, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's because it's like with the original form of Mickey Mouse, those characters have entered the public domain. So people can do what they want with them now, and they've made this horror film. And I've seen the trailer for it, and it looks absolutely brilliant. I think it's going to be one of those that it's that bad. It's who knows.
Yeah, talking of entering the public domain, I saw a story the other day. I think it's in 10 years' time. First appearance Batman and Superman will be in the public domain in around 10 years. But
10 years.
Yeah, but it was an interesting read because it was you might not be able to depict Superman flying because that was later. That was trademarked at a later time. So you might only be able to show him leaping. But in 10 years and beyond, I think be some interesting fan films coming out. So what?
Absolutely, yeah.
What film are you looking forward to after? Oh, actually, there it is. Kung Fu Panda 4, 28th of March. So that's a big day for Kieran, by the looks of it.
I haven't seen Kung Fu Panda 2.
I don't think I've seen any Kung Fu Panda film.
It's one to take the kids to, I think. So that's a good one for the kids, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not on my list, but I mean, sticking with the Superman theme, there is a film coming out in February which is called Argyle, which has got God, my mind's gone blank. Him who played Superman, Henry Cavill.
Oh right, yeah.
Who I'm a big fan of, actually. I think Henry Cavill's he's a great actor in my opinion. But yeah, I think it's based on somebody who writes spy novels, and Argyle's like the main character and stuff. I mean, I've only seen the trailer and I haven't really read much up on this synopsis for it, but it draws into like activities of is what it says on the synopsis. So it's Matthew Vaughn. So I quite like Matthew Vaughn films. They're a little bit more X-Men First Class. Yes, they're a bit more polished. A bit more of a polished filmmaker than Guy Ritchie, and I know he started out with Guy Ritchie was one of the producers on Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. But yeah, I like Matthew Vaughn as a director, so I've been intrigued by that one.
Yeah, because Henry Cavill, he seems to pick his project carefully. He's got that bit of star power now where I think if he's in it's probably going to be good.
Yeah, definitely. And he's one of those actors where he's almost like a dying breed. I'll come on to later on, because there is a film later on that I want to talk about with Tom Hardy, where when you're not really going to see them playing themselves. You know, like when we mentioned with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson on a previous video, you're going to see that film because it's got him in it, and he's pretty much that character. Same with him who plays Deadpool. I don't really like. That's him, Ryan Reynolds. I don't really like him too much because he just plays the same character over and over again. But I think when you go and watch someone like Henry Cavill, they're good character actors and they're quite entertaining. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that one's all about.
Yeah, so a film that I'm looking forward to, which is coming out straight after Madam Web, Dune Part 2. Did you ever watch the first Dune film? I really loved it. I thought it was so great. Denis Villeneuve. He's one of my favourite filmmakers at the moment. I think this has been pushed back quite a bit because it was supposed to be released at Christmas Christmas gone. I don't know if it was due for release just before that, but if anybody's watching this now or watching it later on and I get this wrong, then by all means do put a comment in the comments and correct me. But I think they were going to wait to see how the first one performed before actually starting with the second one. Oh, is that right?
Which obviously performed well. I think so. I might be wrong on that, but it's one of those ones where they were looking to make the film in two because that is how the books worked. I don't know if you've ever seen the David Lynch Dune, where
no, I never got round to it.
It's a very strange film. It's very intriguing as from his early kind of stuff. Very weird as well. So there's a lot in it which I think is quite entertaining, but it's a hard watch. And I think what Denis Villeneuve's doing with Dune is, you can see he's trying to distance himself from that film afterwards because this wasn't quite the film that David Lynch wanted to make, but. It's got Patrick Stewart in as well.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
yeah. But Denis Villeneuve has got such a vision. The way he films scale. I mean, films such as I was going to say Contact. Then I'm really not with it tonight.
What's happening to you?
Arrival, where they're filming a lot of scale, and it's just everything in camera just looks so amazing, same as he did with Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, when they talk about world building,
it's
and stuff,
brilliant.
It looks like a real
world building,
well thought out world. Yeah. So what else, Colm?
Yeah, June 2 coming out the 1st of March. Just after that, I think towards the end of March is something that Kieran's probably going to want to watch is Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah.
Not for me. But a day after, now this was something I was trying to find some more information about. It's called Mickey 17, and this does seem a bit intriguing. It's got Robert Pattinson. It's got quite a good cast in this. Actually,
do you have to watch the first 16 films?
I hope not. But I was trying to find out about this, and it seems I don't know. It kind of. Have you ever seen The Island by Michael Bay? It's kind of got that. The synopsis, there's not a lot written about it because I think they're trying to keep quite a bit under wraps. Can't find anything out about it on IMDb, but it says a disposal employee is sent on a human expedition to colonize the ice world of Niflheim. Right. After one iteration dies, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories intact. It's a bit like, it's
that sounds like
a Black Mirror. Yeah, it sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
That sounds like an old sci-fi type movie, on the Sci-Fi Channel, but with maybe a bigger budget.
Well, I think the good thing about it is it's seen. I don't know. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think this has come from a mainstream comic book or anything, and it seems like it's quite a fresh IP. And it's good to see that because I think a lot of films, obviously, we're getting an influx of superhero films, as we just mentioned with Madam Web. And to be honest, I'm sick of it now. If they were releasing another Avengers film next week, I just don't know if I've got it in me to watch
the burnout's real, isn't it?
Yeah, superhero fatigue has really taken over. But yeah, Mickey 17, that's definitely one that I'm going to be interested in seeing.
Yeah, and that same day, is there another Ghostbusters film coming out? I didn't even know.
Yeah, Frozen Empire. I think they've done everything they need to do with that franchise. I think the 2016 with the female cast. A lot's been said about that. It's not a very good film at all. I only managed about half an hour before I had to switch
the one
off.
with Paul Rudd was all right. I thought that was okay.
Yeah, it was, and that's this film is a direct sequel to, so it's got that cast as well as the returning original cast. But I feel like they have missed the boat on that. I think if they were going to carry on with Ghostbusters, they should have done it 20 plus years ago when the characters were still at that age where they can carry on doing what they're doing. And obviously with Harold Ramis passing away, it seems like it lacks something. And I can't imagine that Bill was on pack for half the film. Cracking one-liners in the way that he did. It's just, I think it's been milked for all it's worth, and
it's had its time, hasn't it? I think
it has had its time, but it might be a decent enough film. It's not directed by Jason Reitman this time. I think he's a producer on it, but it might be one that I'm going to look for in streaming.
Yeah. So and it appears they're making another Godzilla film. I didn't know that either. I've always
Godzilla has been done to death as well. and
Yeah,
King
Godzilla
Kong.
versus Kong, the New Empire. I don't know what's going on there.
No. Did you just divert slightly? Is it Kong? Not Kong. Godzilla -1 that came out towards the back end of last year.
Oh, I heard that was good. It's like an animated one, isn't it?
No, it's live action.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
It's actually pretty low budget compared to what films are made on these days, and it does not look like it is. And it's set just at the end of World War II. It's obviously Japanese, so it's it's subtitled and etc. Well, that was the version I watched, and it's brilliant. Honestly, it's really good. It's a lot of character development in there, and the way that I'm not familiar with Godzilla. Yeah, very much so. When the video that came out last week, development, it's not over reliant upon CGI all over the screen, but yeah, it's worth a watch. But this new one that's coming out, I just don't feel that American cinema really does really does Godzilla well. It just doesn't work.
Well, that's the extreme other end of the discussion that we were just about to have, and talking about CGI. That is definite CGI porn, isn't it? It's just things blowing up and getting.
Yeah,
it's that's what you're going to go watch, isn't it? It's never been a good. I mean, I watched the last one. I mean, I watched the last one. Yeah, it had 11 from Stranger Things in it, in the most bizarre subplot that didn't need to be there. And then you're just waiting for it, and then eventually, the monsters come out. Yeah, we're here now. This is all we wanted.
I watched the first one, which was directed by Gareth Edwards, and I thought, do you know what? It got slated by a lot of people because you didn't see a lot of the monster. Plus, Heisenberg gets killed off quite early into the film.
I know. I was excited for Heisenberg.
I thought it was enjoyable. Heisenberg going up against Godzilla. Say my name.
I am the danger. But that was
I am the one that knocks.
That film was the first time, I think, had that come out before Age of Ultron? Because I remember seeing the Kick-Ass kid, and I thought, oh my god, he's beefed up.
It was after. Yeah, it was after. It came out after.
Because he's married to Scarlet Witch, his sister.
Yes,
in the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Like Game of Thrones.
It came out just before Rogue One as well.
Right.
So I wanted to go see it because I knew he was directing Rogue One, and I'd obviously seen his first film, Monsters, which he kind of did as it was like a student film, and he did it like rogue filmmaking and stuff, and that is excellent. It really is a really good film. It's got an excellent soundtrack to it. But there is a film coming up in April. We obviously can't go through every single film that's coming out this year.
No, unfortunately not.
But on the 26th of April is dates might be different in the US. These are all UK release dates. So it's a film called Civil War. That looks very intriguing. I'm just bringing up the synopsis on this now. It's got Kirsten Dunst in it. Set in the near future, a team of journalists travel across the United States during a rapidly escalating civil war that has engulfed the entire nation. Post-apocalyptic type of film set in the very near future as well.
That's an interesting
I like the look of that. But what drawn me to it is that it's written and directed by Alex Garland. And
always does good
a big
stuff.
Fan.
Yeah,
absolutely massive fan of Alex Garland, and
that's very promising.
Yeah, so I'm really happy to go and see that in cinema, just because. Although Alex Garland's last couple of films have been released on Netflix, but no, I think that'll be a good one.
Oh well, thanks. It's a good job we're doing this podcast because I didn't really know about that, and I'm excited to watch it now. So you've got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I've lost track of what films they've had out on that.
I have as well. I watched the first two of the trilogy that's directed the Batman. I like those. I never got around to watching the third one, which is pretty stupid, seeing as we're the Critical Cinema Club, and I don't watch a lot of cinema. I can't even say it.
Well, I think we're like the average Joe cinema goer because when you click onto here and you think, "Oh, Critical Cinema Club," we're not really watching art house films, are we? Or
no, we're not.
I guess most people
Popcorn.
probably like us, where I pick and choose, usually big budget type stuff for me personally, for me to go to actually shell my money out and go to the pictures.
Yeah. And I didn't know a lot about Matt Reeves before when he went to direct the Batman. I had to go and research, and obviously did those War of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And they're decent films. Never got around to watching the third one though, but it's one of those ones I keep meaning to go and watch. I didn't watch it because I didn't like it. I just never got around to it.
I mean, it's never been a property that I've really ever been drawn to. Even when I was a kid and there's all them movies, I never felt like I wanted to go out of my way and watch it. What are your thoughts about the Furiosa, the Mad Max sort of prequel? What are you feeling? That's a weird one. I'd have to say
that it is because is it Anna Taylor-Joy? I find her to be quite. I'm not saying she's a bad actor. I obviously watched her in the Queen's Gambit, and she was pretty good in that. I always, she started out. Well, the first film I remember seeing her in was Split, which was really good. But she's always so stern face, and she's there's not a lot of.
I think
there's not a lot going on behind the eyes for me.
I think she's very good at that quietly intense type character. She's done that a few times now. And then Furiosa, I mean, why couldn't they've just used what's her name again?
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, I mean,
Charlize Theron.
I mean, I think if you keep up with the channel, I think in general, I'm not a fan of prequels anyway.
No, not really. Once I managed to get the Star Wars video out, everybody will come to realise that neither of us are fans of prequels.
Yeah, will it be Star Trek? And so prequel, I've never been a fan of prequels going back, but she seems, I remember when it was announced, a lot of people online were like, "What?" I like her, but maybe not that kind of role. Yeah. So that maybe is another streaming situation, depending on what reviews come in. Because it's the kind of film
there is a film coming out.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, sorry, after you.
No, I was just going to say, I wish I'd seen Fury Road at the cinema, and if it's that kind of film of that caliber, I'm going to keep my ear to the ground, and if it's something that it surprises people and it's worth watching, and then I'll go. But we'll see.
Yeah, I did go. I saw that twice in cinema just because I thought of how I just thought it was amazing spectacle in the cinema, and it's such a simple linear story, and it's just one long chase. And,
it's great.
When I heard about that originally, I thought, oh God, they're not making another Mad Max, are they? I went to see it. I was like, well, I want them to make another one like this. But there's supposed to be another film in that series, which is a proper Mad Max film called The Wasteland with Tom Hardy. So I don't know what's going on with the development of that one, but I do hope, because he's not getting any younger, bless him. So I don't really want to see Mad Max being brought to the screen by anybody else, because it's his baby, effectively. But just before Furiosa comes out, there's a film called The Fall Guy. With,
I thought you were going to mention
Ken
the Garfield
from
movie.
Barbie.
Really
so The
excited
Fall
to talk
Guy.
about Garfield.
I'm not really excited to talk about Garfield. Although I did like the fact that Garfield was voiced by Bill Murray. And the guy who voiced Garfield did the voice for the cartoon version of Peter Venkman. So there's
oh wow,
it's a little bit of trivia. That's what you get when you watch Critical Cinema Club. You learn things. But The Fall Guy's got Ryan Gosling in and Emily Blunt, and his name is Colt Seavers.
Okay.
He's a stuntman. I was thinking, is it like Drive?
Oh, is this like a sequel?
But he's a stuntman who's left the business a year earlier to focus on both his physical and mental health. But he's looks. I saw the trailer for it and I thought, that one looks quite fun.
Okay.
It says he's drafted back a mega budget studio movie, which is being directed by his ex goes missing. So it could be a bit of an action film. So I think might be worth a stream, not cinema.
Okay. Another one in that vein then, probably, I don't know if I would go to cinema, but and don't laugh, but Inside Out 2. I thought Inside Out was brilliant. I said don't laugh.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Broke up there.
Did you watch Inside Out?
I did, yeah. I thought it was pretty good.
It is really good. I didn't know they were making a second one until we started looking at this list yesterday. But yeah, that's a definite one. But have you noticed a lot of these films? Because obviously that's going to be a Pixar Disney film. With the Marvel movies, you only have to wait a couple of months, and they're on the streaming service. They come on really quick.
That's it. The problem with these, like Despicable Me 4 coming out as well, but the problem with these films, especially with the Pixar Disney ones, is they've got a bit of a poor track record of late. And I think Disney's almost been tainted with their recent releases, whether it be in Indiana Jones or Marvel releases and stuff. And they're really losing the audience because they're not catering properly for audiences that would pay money to go and see it. Yeah. So there's a big thing at the moment. You can find loads of different videos from different commentators on YouTube discussing this specifically, but I really do need to start focusing on an audience which is going to pay money to go and see the film instead of they're almost. I think we said this on our recent video that you look at it as I'm no longer the target audience here, whereas 10 years ago I would have been. But it's not because I've changed; it's because they're changing what they want to put out there.
And like the Marvel movies, they've really watered down, aren't they? The quality is missing. And
they are.
I've regretted paying to watch past couple of Marvel movies at the pictures. I have.
I do. Yeah. There's no stakes anymore. There's no stakes because of the multiverse, which we've discussed again previously. That you bring it back in with a different actor from another universe.
Yeah.
What is the point? You can't feel that there's any. If there's no stakes, then you're not going to feel the thrill or the excitement behind it.
Even with the Thor, God of Love and Thunder, that didn't really have any multiverse business, but it was still a really poor film. It was really poor.
Yeah,
really.
I think they let Taika Waititi do his own thing there, and he tried to replicate what he did for Ragnarok, which worked well. It was like a snapshot in time. You can't replicate that.
You can't, because there were bits where I was thinking I'm supposed to be laughing, but like the goats, you remember the screaming? I was like,
that was irritating. It was irritating.
But yeah, Inside Out too. What did you? Sorry, if I'm skipping past any films, you want to talk about? I'm really intrigued by A Quiet Place, Day One. I'm a big fan of the Quiet Place movies.
Yeah, I like both of those films. I think they're both very good. They're very gripping, very thrilling.
Yeah.
They leave you on the edge of your seat. So just a slight diversion here, which is, it's along the same vein of A Quiet Place in terms of how it makes you feel. We watched Jaws the other night, and we've just released a 1 minute short about the differences between the book and the film. And on Thursday this week, we'll have us. And that's one film that really does the thrilling and gripping really, really well. And I kind of get that same sense out of The Quiet Place and Quiet Place 2 as well. I think they're John Krasinski from Red Dwarf. Krasinski. I can't pronounce this. He's
Jim from The Office.
Jim from The Office, yeah. But yeah, they're both very, very good films. Those two are, and I'll be interested to see but I haven't read any synopsis on this. I'm assuming day one it's all about how it all kicks off.
Kicked off, yeah. I mean, they showed you a bit of that in the second film, and obviously there's an appetite for more of that. And I'm certainly someone who's intrigued to see it. And it's a good
prequel though.
Yeah, it is, but I'm willing to give it a pass because it's not a 40-50-year-old property. They're like Ghostbusters that they're pumping these old boys out, and it's a newish universe, if you want to call it that, where they're still growing it out, and I'm interested in that, and you aren't getting many original universes coming out now, are you, like that? And I can't wait for that. I'm really intrigued to see it.
I think Hollywood is creatively bankrupt at the moment. I mean, if you look at the Oscars, for me, Oppenheimer, is that tonight? I can't remember when it is. Oppenheimer is going to completely wipe the floor with mostly everything I think Barbie's going to do. I think Oppenheimer was a decent film, but I just don't feel it's Christopher Nolan's best.
No.
I felt it was like a 3-hour trailer.
Well, I think
so short and quick.
I wonder if it's going to be a case of, because Oppenheimer and Barbie, you kept hearing about they wanted them to be the films that bring people back, and you wonder if they're going to try and celebrate those films to try and encourage film, people to come back. And these are films you're going to catch at the cinema, and I don't know, mate.
Yeah, I mean, Oppenheimer was. I enjoyed going to see it in the cinema, but I just felt the way the film flowed was a little bit too. It didn't give me a chance to catch my breath. And with something so heavy in terms of its story, I feel you have to let scenes breathe a little bit more. And I might be in the complete minority here, and if I am, then whatever. But I just feel that if you look at what's in those categories, it's such a poor list of films that you can't not give it to Oppenheimer. No. Anyway, we need to get back on track with this. So I think the next film is something that we're both going to want to, because we saw the first two in cinema together, which is Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of Deadpool now. I'm just sick of Ryan Reynolds.
I know, but it's
play myself.
Wolverine and the X-Men. This is one of them films where I think, please don't die before this film comes out, because I want to see I want to see it. Do you ever have films like that you think, I hope I make it, because I really want to see what happens with Wolverine?
I really hope that I'm never in that stage of my life where I think I really need to make it to the end of next month so I could go watch this film.
Well, it's a funny thought process of it. Even when I used to like watching Lost, right? And and they never really answered the big questions, but I used to think, I really hope I survive to the end so I can find out what's happening. And they never told you anyway, so I'd have been okay. I could have gone.
I was a bit like that with Battlestar Galactica.
Was you? Yeah.
I really was. I love that series. Yeah, brilliant.
But Deadpool 3, I'm there for it. And not necessarily to see Deadpool, but I want to see everyone else who's in it.
It'd be interesting to see what Disney do with it, because you can't not have Deadpool as a 15 or 18 rated film, or in America an R-rated film. It has to be that same vibe as the first two, where
can't be watered down,
cursing
can it?
And it's bloody. And no, you can't water it down. It cannot be part of the MCU in the same way as the Marvels or Doctor Strange. It just can't be. It has to be an R-rated film. It has to be violent. And it has to have a lot of swearing in. I'd be intrigued to see Wolverine, because it's a different Wolverine. So they're dipping back into that well of creative bankruptcy that is called the multiverse. But I can see it being a bit of a commentary on multiverse films and taking a piss out of multiverse films. But
have you seen the spoilers? It's everywhere though, but there are spoilers here. There's been a lot of leaked shots from set, and there's like the 20th Century Fox logo in the sand, and you've got to think that's probably playing into that, haven't you?
I think they've leaked that stuff purposely to get people's intrigue, though, haven't they? And Hugh Jackman come back as Wolverine wearing the yellow spandex type suit as well, waiting for that ever since X-Men 1.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
So I think I'll go see it. I think the best thing about Deadpool is he's obviously disfigured, so it doesn't look like Ryan Reynolds, but he's got the mask on for most of it as well, so you don't have to put up with his irritating face.
Yeah. But that's a hands down. That's a given. And maybe they'll do a good thing with the multiverse. Who knows? But I'm there for it.
Yeah.
What do you know about Untitled Alien movie?
Not a lot, if I'm being honest. I think this one's been going back and forward in terms of where they're going to go with this because of the last film. So you have Prometheus, which went in a completely different direction. It didn't need to have anything to do with Alien, and it was a decent enough film on its own. And then what was the name of the next one? It was Alien Covenant.
Right, yeah.
Which it looked like it was two films strapped together.
Yeah, it was very.
And the second half of the film was almost like a rehash of both Aliens and Alien.
Yeah, it's a bit of.
So I don't know where they're going to go with it.
You can tell, I think. Well, they say you can tell. I imagine there's been some studio interference there because that was a film about the space jockeys. The first Prometheus film. Didn't need the alien part. I was interested. I was really if I didn't know that film had anything to do with Alien, I was loving it anyway. So the concept behind trying to find our creators and all. I thought that was really fascinating, and it felt a bit like someone walked into Ridley Scott's room one day and said, "Look, not being funny, but you're having some aliens in there," and that's what I feel.
Yeah, we're having it. You're having it. I'm just trying to see if I can find out something more about it on IMDb. It's called Alien Romulus.
Oh, so it's a Star Trek crossover. It's got Romulans.
I was wondering if Tomalov's going to be in it. Yeah. It's got Tomalov.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is the crossover I didn't know we needed, but it's coming.
Well, you never know your luck. But yeah, the synopsis that I'm looking at here, so I'll just come off that for a second. So it's young people from a distant world must face the most terrifying life form in the universe. So it's not directed by Ridley Scott, but I think Ridley Scott is involved as a producer. It's directed by a fellow called Fede Alvarez. I don't know much about his work in the past. He's been a writer and screenwriter on films such as Don't Breathe, Evil Dead, Girl in the Girl in the Spider Web.
It's worrying, isn't it? That's a concern.
It's a franchise continuum, which doesn't, a bit like what we're getting with Terminator. We don't need any more of it. It should have been left alone because it's almost watering down. The best thing about Alien is that the intrigue behind it was what you don't know terrifies you, and that you're learning more about it. So it gives it a little bit more. It gives it less gravitas because you know what it is. I'm not frightened of that anymore because I know what it is.
It's a concern that, when you've got a franchise that's on its arse a bit, and then they bring someone in who's not really a director. Do you remember they did that with Star Trek Nemesis? He wasn't a director; he was an editor.
Stuart Baird.
It wasn't a good film, and that worries me.
You need somebody who understands the franchise. I think that's a really good analogy there with Stuart Baird and Star Trek, because he knew nothing about Star Trek, but he was an Academy Award winning editor. He edited Superman, and his reputation speaks for itself for some of the films that he's edited over the years. But directing a Star Trek film for him you might as well have got Dave down the road to go and do it, who had nothing to do with. If you don't have that love for the franchise,
and for lifelong fans like us, spoilers again for a 20-year-old film, but Data just been snuffed out, and when you go back and watch the film, right? Sorry to digress, everyone, but
we can't talk about Star Trek again, surely.
We're gonna, but you've got like Generations, First Contact, and then when you watch them all in a row, Insurrection. And then you get to Nemesis, and it's so dark. And I don't just mean story. I mean, I can't see anybody, and it's just not very well directed at all. And no offense to the guy, I'm sure he's done some amazing things elsewhere, but not a good film. And it was a real waste of those characters we were so invested in. And I'm so glad that we got that final series of Picard to tie it up properly. But
I am. Well, Patrick Stewart wants another Next Generation film, doesn't he? Well, he wants a Picard film. I don't know if they were going to do Next Generation film. I hope if they do another film, it has to be a Next Generation film with all of the cast back.
But the thing is, how old is he? How old is Patrick Stewart?
He's
now?
83.
He might be older than that. He's well, we'll see. But
he's lost the power in his voice, hasn't he?
Well, when you watch the latest Picard series, it was very difficult to. It sounds like an old man. He is an old man. Bless him. He's lost that. That to me, it's a stupid thing to say, but it's almost like Picard's dad.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's not the same.
No. So to move on, just interestingly, we're bringing back kick-ass guy Aaron. What's his name?
Johnson.
Yeah, Craven the Hunter. That is another Madam Web situation for me.
Yeah, it's extended Spider-Man universe. I think this one actually probably has more behind it in terms of it's probably going to be a bit more of a success if it's done properly. Because I know that his name's Aaron Taylor Johnson. Sorry, it's one of these ones where fans have been wanting Craven the Hunter involved in the films at some point. I remember, and I might be again, I might be wrong on this, but I remember the character coming up in the '90s animated series for an episode. So I remember I don't remember anything about the character, but I remember him being there. I remember the look of the character, and he was a bit vicious and stuff. He was, like a big game hunter. But I don't know an awful lot about the character. But I think, judging by the track record of the Sony films since, say, Venom 2, they've not been good.
No, and Craven's a character I've always struggled to take seriously because, to my knowledge, my memory might be failing me, but I didn't think he had any special superpower. It was just a jack dude. But what might help the film, I'm playing through it at the moment. I'm about a quarter of a third of the way through, but Craven is the main, one of the main villains in the latest Spider-Man game, and he's been done quite well in there. They've done it interestingly, that might help the film. But I do wonder what's the end game here? Is Spider-Man ever going to fight any of these villains, or what?
I don't know. I mean, it seems to be a bit of an unusual situation where the main draw of that franchise, the whole point of that franchise, isn't appearing in them. It's very odd. It's very strange.
It's a bit like the Gotham series, where you had this whole series about Batman's villains, and Batman was never really in it.
Yeah, and it
was a success again. It went on for a few seasons, but I don't understand the appeal. I like Spider-Man and Batman. I want to see them. It's a bit like you seen that there's the Arkham Knights game where it's about Batman's pals, but Batman's not in it. It flopped, didn't it?
Yeah.
I've played all those games up till then, and I have no interest in playing a Batman game that's not got Batman in it. And in the same vein, I struggle being hyped for a Spider-Man film that hasn't got Spider-Man in it.
It's like having a series of Star Trek where you've got just a load of nothing characters that like to cry in corridors. Oh, wait a minute. They actually did that, didn't they?
Yeah, but at least there was a starship in it with a crew. This is oh well.
Yeah, I was glad when they went down that black hole. I never watched any more of it.
No. But Craven the Hunter. That's going to be another streamer, I think, for me. So next one I'm saying that's jumped out is Beetlejuice 2.
I mean, Beetlejuice. Have you seen it recently? Because I think it is a film that really does hold up quite well.
I've watched it for ages. Bizarre. I remember it well.
And I think you kind of have to, the time it was made, the limitations with with special effects and stuff make the film as good as it is. Michael Keaton is brilliant as Beetlejuice.
I remember when it blew my mind when I found out that was Batman. I couldn't believe it when I was a kid. I was like, what? That's Batman.
But do you know what? I love Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is one of those films that it really does stand the test of time. It's such a bizarre film, such an unusual concept, but it's one of those ones you can just go back and enjoy. But I'm not really sure where you go with it with Beetlejuice 2, because I think there was a sequel in the plans of the filmmakers for a long time, where I think Tim Burton wanted to do Beetlejuice in Hawaii, I think was what it was called.
What?
So yeah, so you imagine Beetlejuice surfing or something. It's
I'm interested to see how the modern audience will react to it. It's it's a weird one. I'll put a pin in that one because I don't know enough about it, and it's it's out of the blue for me. That.
Do you think it's because they got Michael Keaton back to play Batman for the Flash film? It's almost like, well, he's done that, so why don't we get him back to play Beetlejuice? It's almost like a now you can do this again. Like revisiting all of his old characters, but. I mean, Tim Burton's directed it. It's got quite a good cast in here as well. Willem Dafoe, he's always a joy to watch. It's got that Jenna Ortega who played Wednesday. She's in it.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder's obviously back. Catherine O'Hara, she's back as Delilah Dietz. So Justin Theroux's in it.
Okay.
I quite like Justin Theroux. I think he's really good. So I'll be interested to see what it's all about.
It's got
Or if I go
potential,
see
hasn't
it in cinema, though, I think it might be it's borderline stream for me. It depends on, whether Kerry wants to go and see it in cinema, or if you were really up for going, I'd say, oh, I'll go with you then.
Well, it's a bit like, to go back on what I was saying a bit ago, and it's a daft thing to say because we're the Critical Cinema Club, but I'm really choosy these days about what I go to watch at the cinema, because it's time. We're both adults working full time. It's cost the big one. Because do you know what was interesting? A few years ago, just to digress a second, me and my dad, we looked at getting like the cinema pass, so you could go unlimited movies. And it was going to be like 20 odd quid a month or whatever. And I said, before we commit, let me just text it. And I went back and checked all the films that come out in that year previous. And I thought, how many of those would I have gone to watch and paid to watch? Because I worked out I needed to watch X amount of films to make it pay. And it didn't add up. It didn't add, and I'd get to the point and I said, Dad, you know what? We'll be going to watch films for the sake of it.
Yeah.
To make it pay.
And we used to go to the cinema quite a lot together as well. And we've seen some poor films, such as Jurassic Park. What was it called? Fallen Kingdom.
Domination, was it? Or Dominion, whatever it was. Did we go to watch that one together?
Yeah. I don't think we went. I don't think I've watched that third one, but we definitely went to see the second one together, and it was just dog shit.
Yeah.
We have been to see a couple of films. RoboCop. We went to see RoboCop with a mutual friend of ours, and I really didn't enjoy that in the cinema. I just thought, this is garbage. I don't think you minded it, but
I don't mind it. I think it's okay, but I think maybe it's an age thing as well, because we're both late 30s now, and it's a case of you have to pick and choose, and it has to. I think these days it has to be a film like Deadpool. I've got to really want to go and see it. It's tough to manage everything, isn't it? But
it really is, and it's about wanting to spend your money wisely, because it's just like 15 quid to go and watch a film, and then you get fleeced for popcorn and stuff. So, and we cannot go to cinema without. Annoys me.
No, but the next film on this list, I'm going to completely skip past Saw, because I can't believe they're still making the movies. But
I haven't seen Saw since the Saw first one.
Seesaw, didn't you see Saw?
I see Saw. I'm not interested in them.
But the new Joker film, I'm mega intrigued by that. So that's
Folie à Deux.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's this whole thing about it being a musical, and that's and Lady Gaga, who she's a decent actress actually in her own right, I think.
Do you know what? I think that's a really good choice for Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that's decent.
Honestly, I do. I think as good as the first one was, and I'm intrigued by this, because see a complete rehash of the first one, even down to its tone. I think when you're doing a sequel, when you're taking time to make that film, and Joaquin Phoenix is such a good actor that I think they have to spin it one way or another. It has to take a different direction. So I'm intrigued to see where that one goes.
I mean, this is one of those rare instances where I will completely trust whatever they want to do, and I will pay just on the strength of the first one, because I didn't expect anything really from that first film, because it was a Joker film with no Batman, but Joaquin Phoenix is in it, and I thought, okay, this is interesting.
It worked the first time, didn't it? So
it worked fantastic. What a great film that was.
Absolutely amazing film.
And I didn't think they'd make a second one. I really didn't. So the fact that there's one coming out, I'm there, and maybe it'll be crap, maybe it'll be great. I don't know, but I want to see it.
I think what's good about it is that Todd Phillips was actually more known for his comedy films, like The Hangover and stuff like that. So for him to come out and do a film which is more in the kind of like Taxi and Kings of Comedy type of Scorsese-esque film, I think it's the first one is more of an ode to those Scorsese films, which
it's like
I think Joker works brilliantly for. Very much so. Yeah, so you can definitely see the influence.
Yeah, because like you saying there, I remember thinking the guy from the Hangover movies doing a Joker film about Batman. But now you know what, you've earned your stripes. I'm going to stand back, because he's obviously waiting for my approval, and I'm going to let him make this film, and I will watch it, and we'll see.
We can let you have that one. You'll have that one.
No problem, Todd. You crack on, son. So the next film, I don't think you're interested whatsoever, but there's an animated well, I think it's animated. I'm not sure exactly, but it's a Transformers film. and it's set.
Yeah, it's animated.
All in space, I think. The film we've always wanted. There's been no information.
I might actually enjoy it.
Well, there's some interesting. I think Scarlett Johansson's in it. Chris Hemsworth's in it. Not as I think they're doing voices. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got that kind of star power, that's making me think. Well, it could be a good film. And you know what I'm like. I'm a sucker for Transformers. I think it's great. So I don't think we've had any trailers or anything yet. But I'm
no.
But it's one of them
where who's in it actually, like you say. It's yeah, Chris Hemsworth is doing the voice of Optimus Prime.
Yeah, mixed feelings on that.
I'm not sure about that.
No, we'll see. We'll see.
Not sure about that at all.
He can't do it forever, can he? But
no.
But yeah, someone's got to pick up the mantle. I don't imagine Thor wouldn't have been my first pick, to be honest.
I want to see him do that Hulk Hogan film.
Yeah,
I think he'd be quite good in that.
But yeah, Transformers. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think I'll be intrigued by that one with it being an animated film.
Yeah,
and it's just not CGI all over the film, all over the screen.
I actually don't know. But I'm going to skip past a couple because I don't think either of us are interested in Smile or Paddington. But Venom 2, apparently.
Well, to say one thing about Venom 2, it says here, even though it's Venom 3. I think Tom Hardy is starting to lose a little bit of credibility with these films, in my eyes. Not going to be the case for everybody, but I do need to backtrack a little bit here because we've missed a film out which is coming out in June. Sticking with Tom Hardy, it's called The Bike Riders, and it's about. I'm actually really intrigued by this one because it's about bikers who start a Midwestern motorcycle club, which kind of devolves into like a crime-ridden gang. And just looking at the cast is enough to kind of get me intrigued. With Austin Butler, who played, I think Austin Butler. One of the things that I really enjoyed him in was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when he plays Tex, and he just absolutely annihilated at the end of that film.
Yeah.
But I divulged there. But it's also got Jodie Comer in it. Obviously Tom Hardy, who I've mentioned. Michael Shannon. General Zod himself, Boyd Holbrook, obviously from Logan. There was somebody else in there. I thought, that's be intriguing. So Norman Reedus, who played what was his name? Is it Daryl Dixon from Walking Dead? So yeah, there's a few people in this. This could be quite intriguing. So I think I'll be looking forward to seeing that. But Venom 3. There's 3 Spider-Verse films coming out this year.
Yeah, that's crazy, actually.
Yeah, so it must be leading to something else. But seeing how bad Morbidness was, I just I can't get my head around it.
I watched because, like we've been saying, I waited for Venom: Let There Be Carnage to come on Netflix, and apart from Carnage being in it, I love Carnage. What a forgettable film! It's so low budget. It's borderline.
I don't remember anything about it.
It is borderline TV movie material. I think it's. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, I guess, but I'm not going to go out my way to watch Venom 3. Not at all. Not unless it's going to have Spider-Man in it or something that's going to draw me in. But more of the same. No thanks. I don't think so.
I think I'll wait for the reviews and then probably catch it on streaming. So that's a no from me as well. I don't even think I'll bother with it.
Talking about it's a bit of a theme on this episode or chat, but rehashing old properties. But Gladiator 2, how's that happening?
This has been in the works for years. Honestly, it's been in the works for absolutely pretty much. I think the idea behind it was original concept was that it was going to be set in heaven or something.
Oh,
so Maxus Meridius Flalidius, whatever his flipping name is, Russell Crowe's character, it was going to be in it. I don't know if he's even in the sequel, even as a in a flashback or anything like that. I think it's based on completely different characters. But the Mandalorian's in it, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington's in it, and Denzel Washington's a winner in everything he's in. He's hard to dislike in it. So,
I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because the idea of doing Russell Crowe again. Have you seen him recently? I mean, he didn't look anything like he did.
No, he's.
You have to get in the flash levels of CGI.
That would be awful then.
Yeah.
Flash CGI was terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it'll be intriguing because if it's not set around that same character, which I don't know how it can be. I think if they're taking a completely different story and doing something different with it, as long as it's not a rehash of what they did in that first film. Well, because the first Gladiator was groundbreaking.
It was brilliant, and to be fair, I think a great one-off. It's the same. I mean, I will withhold judgment until I've seen it properly. But my first initial reaction is this going to be a bit like? Do you remember Die Hard 4, where it didn't have to be Die Hard, it didn't have to be John McClane. It was something complete, a bit like this. Why even call it like? If it's going to be a complete departure, why has it even got to be linked to that story?
Yeah, it's just trying to keep that IP alive, but. I'm just wondering if Pedro Pascal's in it. Is he going to turn up in his Mandalorian mask, Mandalorian helmet in the Colosseum?
No, I'm hoping he's going to revive his character from Game of Thrones. That'd be great.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
That'd be great. So I haven't really watched the trailer or anything because I'm just a bit. It's a funny one because I'm a bit shocked. I'm a bit like I don't know what to make of it. The fact that they're making the second one, it's thrown me a bit, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I like it if they keep Hans Zimmer's score in it. I think the score from the first film is it's an amazing score. I think it is.
But I feel like that score's synonymous with the Maximus character, and you're on that journey with him, and he finally passes away to that music, and then I don't why is it happening? I don't know, but we'll see. Is Joaquin Phoenix in it again?
No, because he died as well, didn't he?
Oh, of course he did. Sorry. Just as the Joker.
I wonder if you're going to get a line in it with what was it? Husband of a murdered wife, father of a murdered son, a wooger.
I mean, yeah.
You'll only get that joke if you've watched the British Gladiators, which. I have to tell you this. We started watching the new series last night on BBC, and I thought this is a massive pile of crap.
I was going to say, is that any good? I haven't watched it.
No. Kerry wanted to carry on watching the next couple of episodes. I was like, I cannot watch any more of this. It is utter shite.
So, if obviously now you've refreshed my memory, if Joaquin's not even in it, why? Who is in it?
Isn't nobody that's in it? I think there's one person who's in it.
Maybe the boy.
The first one. Oh, what was his name? Peter Mensah. Was he in it?
Oh, was he there?
Yeah, I think he was in the first one. Might be wrong.
Because it was in Spartacus, wasn't he? Was he in both?
I remember him being in 300 as well.
Right.
It was,
I don't
know if he was in it or not.
Is his friend going to be the guy who's in Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff?
No. Who? No, he's not.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's not in it.
Oh well, no point then. No point.
No.
I think we've given that long enough. Wicked. I assume that's a Wizard of Oz prequel again. I think I've seen.
I think it is
about that.
Musical. Yeah.
Don't need that. Not interested. Lord of the Rings. What the hell? What's happening there?
I think that's an animated film.
Okay.
War of the Rohirrim. I've seen some stuff on YouTube about that, and I'm hoping if it's got anything to do with the Amazon Prime series, then I'm out. I can't do any more of that. That first series of the Rings of Power, it's down there with Star Trek Discovery and Strange New Worlds and Picard seasons 1 and 2. Yeah, I can't go there. And some of the Marvel series.
Yeah, it's a no from me. I'm I'm happy that Lord of the Rings finished at Return of the King, and that's it. I wasn't even that big a fan of the Hobbit films, to be honest. Now I was a really big Lord of the Rings
No,
fan.
yeah, we watched those together as well, and God, they were a slog. Honestly, they were just. It was hard going, but I mean, I'm looking at the cast for War of the Rohirrim, and it is animation, and it's got Brian Cox, not the scientist.
Right, okay, that's a shame.
Yeah, we're all here to fight these orcs because they come from somewhere else. It's not from. But Miranda Otto is playing Alwyn again, but I think it's set something like 60 or 100 years or so before Two Towers. There's some people in it, some voice actors in it, which I think they're quite good actors. There's Sean Dooley, who I remember in the Red Riding miniseries that was on the late 2000s. He's popped. You wouldn't know him by his name, but you'd know him by his face. He's popped up in quite a few British production TV series and stuff. So, but Brian Cox, obviously the big person in terms of actor,
the big name, yeah,
the big name in that. So,
okay.
I thought it was going to be like an anime version of it, but I don't know. I might be proven wrong.
Well, I get it. A common theme throughout this whole video is I want to wait and see what gets said about it. To be honest, because it's another maybe. If I hear enough good things, who knows? But I think like a lot of cinema goers, I'm standing back a bit, and I'm waiting to see what gets said, because, like we've just been saying, you have to pick and choose where you spend your money and your time now. Especially in these times that we're living in. So. Maybe I'll keep what I was saying about it. I'll keep an eye out. It's on my radar.
It's a streamer. It's not a cinema going. It's a streamer. I think the next one we've got on this list is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, I've been pleasantly surprised by the Sonic films, because
they've been good. Yeah.
If you remember the debacle with that first trailer where they tried to make Sonic look human, and then there was this big uproar, and I went back and redid it. I thought, that is the one time I've ever known producers on a film actually going back and changing something because of a fan outcry. Well, have you ever doing it in a positive way?
Have you ever heard the conspiracy theory that they did it on purpose to drive up interest?
I wouldn't be surprised, because it worked.
I don't personally subscribe to that, but I laughed when I heard it, because I thought, you know what, anything's possible, isn't it? It may be.
But, yeah, of course it is.
But it was. I cannot believe, if it's a legitimate direction they're going to go in, who on earth thought that would be a good idea and signed off on that?
Well, I think there's so many people working in the movie that are so out of touch and disillusioned by what people actually want to see for a start, but what entertains people. And we've had this discussion recently with the old versus new movies, and the main focus was on that was CGI. But I think if you actually go back to the bare bones of filmmaking, getting a good character written well and a story that's engaging, it doesn't have to be complex. It can be very, like Jaws is very linear as a story. It's very focused on the characters and the situation. But today it has to be, everything has to go ahead of the story. And I think the problem with this new could it be watering down a franchise where you're doing too much? Same thing happened to Ninja Turtles. Do you remember that? The first film came out in 1990 or 91, whenever it was, and it was brilliant. Second film came out less than a year later, and it just felt like it was
a cash-in, maybe.
It just wasn't it was a cash-in, and then the third one came out, and you just like, I just want this to end.
Well, there's so much of it now. I mean, I didn't catch the Michael Bay version, and there's an animated one, and I'm completely out of it now. But to end this show, I'm looking at the last film being released this year, and I'm just saying, what the F? Because Mufasa, the Lion King. What are they doing? What is happening with these films? Why do they keep dragging up these old stories? Who wants to see
Because Hollywood is creatively bankrupt. They can't come up with new ideas. They cannot, even if they take an old idea and redo it. It's got to be for modern audiences. Yeah, but you've got to understand what the modern audience wants. Do we want a Mufasa film? Do we? I don't.
No.
I mean, somebody might.
Somewhat, but enough people to warrant a Christmas release. That's crazy. That's shocking.
I mean, it's odd. It's odd that there's no big Christmas release, is there? I mean, you've got that Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim, but that's going to be a very potentially for you die-hard Lord of the Rings fans. But Gladiator 2, end of November, I don't know. It's not really a Christmassy film, is it? Imagine that fighting in the battlefield with Santa hats on.
No, but there's no what I would call like event film, is there? There's no when the Force Awakens, that was an event movie at Christmas.
They don't exist anymore.
There's nothing like that, is there?
Event films don't exist. No, and I think Avatar was probably the closest to an event film we've had recently, Avatar 2, and I didn't even go see it because I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. But, I mean, if you're looking at this list from now to the end of the year, I would say there's only 2 films in that whole list that I'm genuinely looking at. Dune Part 2 and Joker 2. They're the only ones.
And Deadpool.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not as excited by that. I mean, the Bike Riders, I'm quite intrigued by it. I think that could be, if it's as hard hitting and gritty as I'm expecting it to be, then that could be a good one. Yeah. Quiet Place Day 1 as well. But there's nothing in there that's genuinely grabbing my attention. That I cannot wait to go and see that. June 2 is, and that's the only one. But
not like, I mean, we were lucky enough to be around in the golden era, as I would say in our lifetimes, in the 90s. Every year there was, if you go through the 90s, every year they were packed with fantastic films, weren't they? We were really spoiled then. Really spoiled.
We were. We didn't know how good we had it back then. No. But the good thing is, because of the way modern media works, we can go back and watch those films. So
give it long enough, it will be remade again.
Well, I think they're trying to remake Jurassic Park about 5 times enough as it is.
I was about to
Terminator.
I was about to make a joke about Dumb and Dumber coming back, but I think they actually did that, didn't they?
They did that twice because they did the prequel one with was it Sean William Scott, and then they actually did a sequel with Jim Carrey and
of course they did. Yeah.
I forgot his name again. Jeff Daniels. Yeah, I was going to say him from Speed, who gets killed. Dennis Hopper.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, I keep saying it, but there's just no creativity in Hollywood anymore. And I think if you look at the year gone by, it's obvious that the writers' strike and the Hollywood strikes and stuff have a huge part to play in just how poor cinema releases have been this year. But I mean, it just means that these people are going back to work now, but they're still churning out terrible crap. When I just feel that the whole system just needs turning upside down and building up again from the ground up.
I just wonder, I wonder if it's a case of, if you think about these studio executives and these big studios, they're probably saying to themselves, I'm not interested in creativity. I just want what I know is going to make money. And that's where the book stops, I think. I think every now and again they'll take a chance if the right people are involved, but generally, they might have a brilliant script land on the doorstep and say, well, I'm not being funny, but I've got a new Ghostbusters film coming out over here. Let's stick with Ghostbusters because we know we're going to get our investment back. And it's a business at the end of the day, isn't it? And unfortunately, it is. That's what it is. That our enjoyment comes secondary to their profit margin.
They just want our hard-earned cash. But I want to tell a quick story before we end tonight's episode by an idea in the 80s where someone came up and says, right, we can make some real money out of this. And this is what we're going to do. And this guy was called James Cameron. And he went up on this blackboard and he wrote alien. And then he wrote an S with the 2 lines through it to signify a dollar sign. And that was what it was. It was just, we're just going to throw loads of aliens in this. We're going to make loads of money on it. But he ended up making a film that was really engaging, really gripping. It was an excellent film, a brilliant cast. But why doesn't that happen anymore? Why can't you get someone, well, we're going to exploit this. We're going to exploit it in a way where we're going to have a creators. It's disappointing to see where we are. It's I fear for the future of Hollywood.
It's a sorry state. It's an interesting one because I think we might be getting deep here, but I think cinema is sort of on a knife edge of. I think it was Steven Spielberg who commented on it a few years ago, saying the whole cinema industry might collapse, and you might end up with like 1 or 2 mega films a year. Which maybe that's a bit far fetched, but it's on a knife edge because how can they keep churning out these films when I could at pictures and they're not, for some of these films we've talked about, they won't be full, will they?
No, of course I won't. Of course I won't. The only time I've been in it when I went to see One Life, but the only reason why it was full because there was a deal where it was buy one get one free, and it was £4 for a cinema ticket. So we went to see that film for £4 between us. And that's kind of what they need to do. Cinemas, to get people in, they need to make it more affordable for a start. But they've also got to have something on that people want to watch.
Yeah, and what they've also got to combat is again, we've talked about it quite a lot today, but we're of an age, aren't we, you and me, and things have changed since the 90s and the decade after, because the home setup, I mean, you've seen my setup at home, it's, I don't have to go to the pictures, really.
Same as mine. I've got a 55-inch with a really good soundbar, so it's a similar setup to what you have, and it's great for a home cinema.
So that's changed. So for me to actually go and to put up with all the screaming kids and people talking, and yeah, it is. And the modern menace is I can't go and watch a film without seeing someone's phone. They're out all the time. They're texting, they're beeping, and I get annoyed by people anyway. So going to the cinema is a real trial for me. So it has to be a film I really want to see.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and another problem now, well, it's a great problem to have for like you and me, but Netflix and games, how good they've got. And you didn't have that, in the 90s, like we've talked about, if you didn't go and watch a good film at cinema, there wasn't really much else to do if you were into that, because you had films on VHS on a crappy old TV, or you had whatever was on terrestrial TV or Sky One if you're lucky enough to have Sky. But there's so much choice
me and
out
Kieran
there now.
used to go absolutely. Me and Kieran used to go to the cinema every week. My mum and dad used to drop us off at Carlton Cinema in Westgate near Margate. Pretty much nearly every Saturday we'd go and watch films. And the amount of films we saw in that cinema. And it was like one of those big old auditoriums, like your old classic cinema rooms. And I remember seeing when the Star Wars were re-released in Apollo 13. I think the first Star Trek film I saw in cinema was Star Trek. I can't remember if it was Star Trek 5 or Star Trek 6. I think it was possibly Star Trek 5. So this is how old I am. But God, we saw some amazing films back then. And that was part of our upbringing.
Yeah, me too.
Films was part of the people we are. So
I mean, I still remember going to watch Armageddon with my dad because we was away on a holiday, and it was a cinema a bit like that, very small one, but everyone was there in the moment because it was a great film. No one had phones then, so you just had to watch the film.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
It was good times, but now it's bad times, I think.
No, we sound like a pair of grumpy old men, don't we?
Yeah, let's scrap off this cinema thing. We've gone the wrong direction, I think. We've just talked about how much we ain't going to cinema.
Yeah, let's not bother.
Let's not bother. But if you know us, we pretty much hate everything. We sit and we've ripped wrestling to pieces, and we think we love it, don't we? But we're not sure sometimes.
I hate it. Yeah, I'll still watch it.
But I think that's probably a good reason we are called the Critical Cinema Club. Because we do actually love cinema,
very critical
films, and we are very critical, but only when we need to be. I don't think we don't go out our way to trash films, or it's only when it's warranted, I think.
Yeah, review on our channel which slates a specific film. Any of our Throwback Thursdays, we haven't done a Throwback Thursday where we've actually torn into a film because we're only selecting films that we enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a film because obviously just a bit behind the scenes, they're quite hard to make. I think that it takes a lot of time and energy. So unless it's a film you feel really passionate about, it can feel like a chore.
Especially when you're working full time.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully one day we'll be in a position where we can start talking about films that we want to rip into a little bit. But we don't always get there, do we, mate?
No. And as I've just mentioned there, obviously on Thursday, depends on how busy the next couple of days are for me, we should be getting a Throwback Thursday of Jaws. as I mentioned in the Jaws video, Throwback Thursdays aren't going to be coming weekly for the time being. We might get back to the weekly later on when we've got a bit more time, but we've both got a lot going on in life. So it will be whenever we've got time to make these videos, we'll upload them on a Thursday. So Jaws hopefully is going up on Thursday this week. And I've really enjoyed making this one. I've learned so much about the film. I've watched the film
Yeah, I
twice,
can't wait to see it.
Whilst trying to review this. So yeah, hopefully that'll go up on Thursday. And but as always, we really appreciate everybody tuning in. Last week, viewer all the way through. This time we haven't really had anybody viewing live, but this video will stay on the channel. So we appreciate anybody who's coming back to watch this afterwards. By all means, comment as much as you like. We like to engage. But yeah, it's a true pleasure to do this. I really love doing this. So
yeah, it's because you know, maybe people will watch this, maybe not, but me and Colin, we have these discussions all the time. It just so happens that it's been recorded on this occasion. So I've not even thought about people, really, how many people will be watching. It's just enjoy talking about stuff that riles me up. Stuff I look forward to. So well, I hope it's been entertaining for everybody, you know, whoever watches it. And we'll have to keep on with these, won't we?
Definitely. So but like I say, if you're watching this later on, by all means, send a comment, add comments. And if there's anything we've missed, or if there's any films that anybody out there is particularly looking forward to seeing, then let us know, and we'll
definitely interested to talk about
explore it.
Yeah, we've had to gloss over a lot because of time, but yeah, definitely chip in and let us know, and we read every comment, don't we?
We
some
do.
Of them don't, some of them don't always warrant a reply, because get some strange ones sometimes, but we do engage if someone wants a serious comment.
Yeah, I mean, we're called the critical cinema tool about something. We've got to expect a bit of criticism back. So, but anybody who wants to criticize us, just remember you're hurting our feelings.
Yeah,
we don't like it.
No, it makes me sad. But on that note, then, mate, should we call time on this one?
We'll call time on this one. Yes.
All right, brilliant. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Colin, thanks for coming, and thanks to me for being here as well. So
thanks to me for being here too.
Yes. So we've been the Critical Cinema Club. I'm Sean.
I'm Colin.
And we'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody.